I am the Hoppy Ferret and I have 2 cans of Guinness. I have Guinness full fat, the 4.1% version, and I've got Guinness 0%. This beer, relatively, well, newer to the market, certainly so than, was it 1759? 1759, this is more like, when was it, 2023. The release of this was actually, Guinness 0%, was actually delayed by a year because when making the beer, Guinness were having, I think it was infection issues, so it was delayed a year. But despite that, this beer has made a splash within the low and no alcohol segment, I would say. It's definitely up there within the top 3 beers, alcohol-free beers for me. I think it's incredibly true to taste. I gave a can, well, I had my girlfriend have a sip of the alcohol-free version the other night, and she didn't even clock until I told her. So I think it's, I think it's a really good example of Guinness. Let's so I'll crack open the full fat version first, and I'm gonna give both of these a hard pour. To some of you, this may look like sacrilege. To others, you might know what I'm getting at, or what I'm doing. There we go, beautiful. I do think pouring this way gives a better pour. I've never tried the nitro surges, but would love to give that a go. So yeah, there we go. This is the full fat version. Let's put that to one side. I'm probably not going to be able to pour this in time to see them both settling, but we can try. Yeah, so Guinness came out with the cold brew version of Guinness, I think sort of around 2021, 2022. I think that did alright. Didn't really blow people's socks off. So this is the full fat version, this is the alcohol free. Yeah, didn't really blow people's socks off, but I think as I said, I think it did alright. And then Guinness, right, full fat. Then Guinness 0% eventually came out, and this was sort of at the start of the, well, it was definitely during an interesting time during the low and no alcohol movement. I think Guinness came in incredibly well timed for the market, sort of time when it was mature enough. People knew what they were doing. These beers are made alcohol free through cold filtration. So there's been a lot more development within the industry to make better beers. They weren't going to make this back in 1759 or 1760. And yeah, it makes for a really good beer, and Guinness itself is a great beer. It's whether you're at the pub trying to split the G with your mates or just enjoying a can at home, I think they're both, in both formats, great. Let's start with the full fat. I'm going to start with the alcohol free. Now, I don't really do this with Guinness or swirling it. It feels a little sacrilegious, but I don't even have to swirl it to tell you what you get. You get blackcurrant, nice red currant flavours, coffee, roasty, toasty, dark. It's gorgeous. It is a gorgeous beer. The alcohol, no, this was the alcohol-free version. Look, see, even on the smell, I thought that was the full fat. And a bit more vanilla on this, interestingly. However, the same flavours definitely still present. You get the coffee and the blackcurrants, the chocolate. I've got to say though, this head, the full fat, is definitely it's definitely creamier, or looks a bit better. But that being said, I can't really tip the glass, but the alcohol-free one it's still beautiful, but a few more artifacts on the head, whereas this one is creamy. I could fall asleep on that head. Let's all right, so let's try the alcohol-free. Cheers. And again, those typical Guinness flavours, all of which that I've just reeled off. I wouldn't necessarily say that it tastes alcohol free. It has so much body. It helps that it's a dark beer, I would assume. That does naturally give it a bit more body, and the creaminess. I think it's harder for alcohol free beers to hide behind carbonation, whereas in nitrogen, although I can't really think of too many nitrogen alcohol free beers I've had, so I might just be talking absolute crap, but I think there's like this bitterness that I get from alcohol-free beers that kind of like rolls over the tongue, and I don't get that with the alcohol-free Guinness. Or other great examples of alcohol-free beer, like Lucky Saint, for instance. So the full fat version. A little bit smoother, bit more body. I can taste a bit more body. More of the hop bitterness comes through. And interesting, some more of the vanilla, but definitely touch more bitterness. That's, I think, the way to determine whether a Guinness is alcohol free or not. I think the level of bitterness. Because it definitely has more bitterness. Not necessarily. Yeah, I think it is hop. I think it is hop. Not necessarily sort of malt or barley bitterness. Mind you, I'm picking up some vanilla from this now, but it definitely wasn't before the full fat, as I keep calling it. Guinness in the can, 4.1%. Guinness on draft, 4.2%. By the way, if you want to bore your friends. And going to the 0%, it's definitely sweeter. I think maybe that's where I'm picking up some of the vanilla in that, maybe. But it's definitely sweeter. So I mean, verdict: full fat Guinness, more bitter. Alcohol free Guinness, a bit more sweet. You're not going to taste the difference unless you're doing it side by side, though. I don't know how many cans of how much Guinness I've drunk. I'd love to have that stat, but unfortunately not. If you follow my other account, Guinness Bliss on Instagram, it's all about Guinness. Whereas Hoppy Ferret is more just craft beer and stuff. Anyway, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So fantastic beer, fantastic alcohol-free beer. If you're looking to sort of cut back, and I'm going to get into some of the more boring stuff, but Guinness, owned by Diageo. Diageo are really investing in the low and no alcohol sector, not just within Guinness, but across a lot of their portfolio, like vodka and gin. I'm not sure about tequila, but like for instance, they own Seedlip. They have Gordon's. What else do they have? That's alcohol free. Tanqueray. And they're sort of recognise what they're calling the zebra striping, which is people who are drinking a full fat beer, then an alcohol-free beer, and they're sort of mixing between during the night or during sort of their quote-unquote session. And it's not a new thing. I think that it's something that's happened sort of end of 2021 sort of onwards. But it's definitely something that's emerging, something that's becoming a lot more commonplace. You're seeing so many more alcohol-free beers within the supermarkets on the taps, and to be able to get such a fantastic alcohol-free beer. Guinness. If I'm in a pub, it's normally what I'm going. It's absolutely what I'm going to go for, unless it's a real ale. No, cask, sorry. And to have an alcohol-free option is just terrific. This is, I think it's great for the beer industry. It's great if you're worried about your health, if you aren't able to drink alcohol, you're not missing out on the fun, and Guinness or Diageo are able to calm their shareholders, but that's a different discussion. I'm a hoppy ferret. I have alcohol-free Guinness and the full-fat Guinness. I love them both. I'm going to go take these and show them a good time. Cheers.